Hey guys, how's it going? So I'm going to be going over the 2022 Mr. Olympia for the bikini category. We're going to be going over the top 10. A few things that a lot of you want to know is why Maureen beat Jennifer Dorie when Jennifer Dorie looked better than last year. You guys want to know who the up-and-coming stars are, and you guys want to know what happened to Lauralie. So I'm going to give you my best possible assessment on everything that I just mentioned, and we're going to get into it. So, when I saw Jennifer Dorie first at prejudging, I was so impressed. That's definitely her best look by far. And it's not common for someone to win the Olympia and then look better the next year and then lose, right? That's very uncommon. That's why I think everyone was so surprised. There was, people trying to understand what happened. Maybe she was too lean. Maybe, her quad was too big. Everyone's trying to figure out, right? Including me at one point until I realized, after looking at pictures and talking to 3 or 4 of the Olympia judges, what actually happened, and it actually makes sense. So I'm going to get into that first, since it's the thing that you guys want to know the most. So the main reason, I don't believe Jen was too lean, but there was a posing issue, specifically in her front and her back pose that she kept doing over and over again, which caused a big imbalance in her physique. So, even though her physique conditioning was perfect, I think her conditioning was amazing. To get Jennifer Dorie lean is very hard, and for her to accomplish this level of conditioning is very impressive. So I was very impressed on that. As far as the posing goes, I think she does her own posing herself. I think she coaches herself too. So um, when you don't have someone looking at you and kind of objectively telling you things you have to change, maybe you miss a couple things. So maybe that could have been what happened, but um, and she said she was practicing posing a lot, so maybe she kept practicing the same error over and over again, and then on stage that's kind of just what she replicated. So I'm going to show you guys what happened here. So in the back pose, I'm going to show you the video first. Actually, this is a better so you guys understand. So front pose here, what she's doing here, I'm going to show you. This wasn't the main issue, but this is one of the issues. So she's bringing her left her elbow back way too much and dropping her right shoulder. So this is kind of ruining the balance of her physique, because she has such a dominant lower body that if she hides her back shoulder here and drops her back shoulder, it kind of gives, not a very symmetrical physique. But the main issue is in her back pose here, which she kept doing. She turns to the back, right? She steps here with her left foot perfectly fine, and she takes a huge step with her right leg. So let me show you again. So she does her transition, right, steps close in with her left foot, and then a huge step with her right foot. And what that was doing was it lifting her right glute so high, right? So she didn't have the symmetry in her back pose. And, they said that they kept making them walk back and forth, and she just wasn't correcting this, and it threw off the whole balance of her back pose. And you guys can see here, there isn't balance here because her left glute is so much higher than her right glute so much higher than her left glute. And I actually saw her prejudging too. I was like, why is she posing it? I've never seen her do this before. And it could have just been something that happened on that day. I don't know. But I realized she was standing really wide. Her knees were kind of pushed out a little bit too much, and it was throwing off the symmetry in her back pose. But I know Jennifer's body. I know she doesn't have a glute imbalance. So I know it's just a posing issue, and it's very easy to fix that. And you can see here in every picture, it's like this, right? So look at the problem with this error against Maureen is extremely symmetrical in the front and the back. So if you're standing next to her and you have some symmetry issues, you're going to have a problem, right? Because you're going to get exposed very easily. If Jen was kind of in a low competition, Maureen wasn't in the show, she would have had a lot easier time. But since Maureen is so symmetrical from front to back, there's going to be a problem, right? So look at this. Look at Maureen's back pose, how and like this is insanity. Perfect shoulders to waist to glutes, right? And then Jen here, she's um, they're kind of all angling the same way, and Jen's kind of turning, kind of not really angling straight on, and her right glute here is still lifted, right? So the same thing here in this picture as her um, her individual routine. So and that was prejudging. Now this is final, same thing, right? The right glute lifted here over the left. So every single picture, this is just happening. So the judges, at one point you got to award what you see, right? And I'm going to show you this. Ashley wasn't yet in her position, but here, Daraja and Maureen were. So Maureen, right, her glute matches with her leg, matches with her upper body, and here Jen, unfortunately, the back shoulder and the back elbow are pointed away, right? So it's kind of looking like she's stumbling slash not symmetrical. So I never realized Jen doing this before. So I looked back at check-ins we did back in 2020, and I looked, and this never was something that she ever did. So like you can see how Jen looks when she. This was back in 2020 when I used to coach her. This is this Olympia. Obviously, this is. I'm not saying this. She was better with me. She was definitely that was her best shape ever at this Olympia. I'm just showing this to show the posing difference and how much it helps her look symmetrical when she poses correctly. So this is this weekend where kind of her elbows pointed away and her shoulders dropped. And here this is when we did her front pose where her elbows more in front and her shoulders are level. And you know, I I believe that the front and back pose is what cost her Olympia. That's what I was told by the judges too. And I believe she probably would be the Miss Bikini Olympia reigning right now if these weren't issues because her conditioning and her fullness were fucking impeccable. And her posing was good too. She did like a new little thing in her routine where she did like a full twist, and I really liked that. So I think that was definitely Jennifer's best shape. If she comes back to the stage, I don't know what her plans are yet. I'm sure you're going to see her fix these two things, and she's going to be once again very hard to beat because she has a crazy physique. So as far as Maureen goes, I knew she was going to be top two at the Olympia, um, and I knew Lauralie was not, and I'm going to tell you why. So um, when I was at the Amateur Olympia on Tuesday, I saw Ricardo, and we were talking. He's my friend, and like, how's Maureen and Issa looking? He's like, they're looking great. And then I'm like, can I see a video? So he showed me their checking video, and I saw a video of Maureen, and I was like, holy fuck, were my words. She looked ridiculous. I've never seen Maureen's tines this sharp. I've never seen her look this good. It was crazy. So I actually texted my athlete. This is on Tuesday. Look, I said, Ricardo showed me a video of Issa and Maureen. Issa looks good, but Maureen looks insane. Never saw her like that. And then my friend says, Maureen looks that good. Pics have been off. Because, yeah, in pictures, she wasn't looking as lean. But I saw that video, and I said, yeah, it doesn't reflect pictures. She's shredded as fuck in the video. I hope they don't mess up the peak. If she comes in like this, she can win. He showed me this AM check-in video. And then my friend puts, she's so much more streamlined than the rest too. I hope she wins. And I said, yes, she's awesome as well. So I mean, I knew Maureen was coming top two, or I knew Maureen could definitely win the show based off her look. It was insane, and I called this on Tuesday. So um, let's go to Maureen now. I mean, there's only one thing I could. So a lot of people were saying they didn't like her suit. I would typically say the same thing, but Maureen could rock whatever fucking suit she wants. Like, she has so much confidence on the stage, she can pull it off, and it didn't affect her here. She probably could look better in a different suit, but this really didn't bother me on her at all because of her physique and her stage presence and anything. I think her fullness and conditioning were absolutely impeccable. I don't think she could look any better than this, honestly. People were saying she looked a bit softer. No, she was very lean on stage. Jennifer Dorie were very lean too. And if you're someone that doesn't think Jennifer Dorie and Maureen were the top two best in bikini in the show, you have no idea what the bikini criteria is. You don't know what's happening. The judging was perfect. That criteria was followed. If you think that someone else besides D2 should have been the top two, then you actually have no idea what is happening in the bikini category, and you need to do a little bit more research. So, the glutes are very full, perfect tie-in, not too overly conditioned. I mean, this couldn't have been any better. Maybe she could stand a little bit closer in her back pose, but besides that, I mean, that's amazing. The only one critique I would give her, which I hope she fixes, is in her front pose here. I'm going to show you something. So she's kind of doing like too much of a vacuum, and it's showing her rib cage, and it's kind of not bringing out enough detail in her midsection. If she, and I found a picture of her in a transition shot where she's kind of like maybe flexing her abs or letting them relax a little bit more. If she had her abs like this in her front pose, and she's not sucking in much like this, it would look so much better. It would give her a much better look. But unfortunately, all of her front poses, we see her doing this, and maybe she's sucking in too much here. I don't know, but if she can, you guys can look at the difference, right? Imagine this core on this physique. It's absolutely ridiculous. So if she fixed this for her next show, she's going to be very hard to beat again because she's so symmetrical. And you guys don't understand, a lot of the bikini criteria, it's not just posing and how big your glutes are and your conditioning. It's symmetry. You're going to be the best in the world. It's all about symmetry too. I had a meeting with my athletes. Obviously, I talk to them every day, but we're on Thursday, and I was telling them, girls, like, I had 10 girls competing, and I was like, there's 54 bikini Olympians, okay? You can't judge 54 girls. So what the judges are going to do is they're going to look, and the second you make one mistake, you're going to be marked way down because they need people in those last callouts. They need people, dropping callouts. So you do your routine, you stumble a little bit, you mess up your posing, you're going to be dropping place right away. So, it's a lot of pressure when there's so many girls because you're not going to have much opportunity to correct your mistake. So you need to really nail it on the stage. You're trying to going up the best in the world, right? You can't make little mistakes. So I told them that, and that's exactly how they judged, honestly. So yeah, I really want Maureen to fix that little waist issue, and if she does that, I mean, she's gonna be kicking ass for a long time. Actually, Kaltwasser, she came third. I think she looked really good. The thing is that actually she's so consistent. She's like a Dexter Jackson, right? So I mean, it's not really off. She's usually between 95 to 100% at every show. She could have been a little bit leaner. I was talking to Adam earlier in the week, and he said that her conditioning is like maybe a couple pounds off, and she's going to try to tighten up a little bit. She does look a little bit leaner in this picture than she did on stage, but if she brought in a little bit better, I think she was a little bit better last year just because she was crazy conditioned last year, and it looked really good. And if she brought a little bit better conditioning, I think she would have looked a little bit better, but I don't think it would have changed her placing. I don't think she was beating Maureen or Jennifer Dorie this year. I really like that she didn't wear red lipstick. I think this is like the first time she didn't. I think it looks like more nude, and I think that's better. This two colors, she's worn different greens before. I like the other green better, or a red or something. I don't like this shade of green. It's too like, um, it's too green for me. I don't know, but I mean, I honestly, if she would have come in at her absolute best, she still wasn't going to come top two in the show. I don't believe, because Maureen and Jen were just way too strong. So she did really good this show. Her posing was getting a little bit better, and she brought a great full physique, and she's brought the consistent Ashley that we're all used to. Fourth place here, Daraja. So Daraja was having a little bit of issues at the start of the year with her physique. Her waist was like a little bit watery, and her glutes were like a little bit soft. But this is obviously her best shape of the year, and I was really impressed. I'm going to show you something. 1 second. Where is this here? So the main thing that Daraja is going to have trouble with to kind of get a little bit higher rating, higher placing, is her glutes are a little bit wide compared to round at the top, right? So look at Ashley, look at Jen here. Pose is a little bit messed up, but look at Ashley and look at Maureen, right? Very round, like peaches, very round, and hers are a little bit wide, but a lot of it is genetics, right? She has kind of like wider hips, I think, so her glutes just sit at a rounder shape, or sorry, a wider shape, and she's gonna have trouble kind of building the upper and outer glutes, trying to make that roundness, and that's what these three athletes, the top three, had, and I think that's where she was lacking. Her conditioning was really good. Her waist could still be a little bit tighter, as you can see here, compared to the other girls. That's an issue she's been dealing with all year. I don't know what's going on. And also, I realize I think the last few shows she's had this like spot on her glutes. I don't know what it is, but she needs to fix it because it's very apparent. It's been here. I think all their shows this year she had it. At least the last two. In Sasquatch and this show, and it's a little bit distracted. So I would try to fix that. I think her condition is great. Her pose routine, she has a lot of confidence. She's very beautiful, and she has so much talent. But I think she touches herself a little bit too much in her posing routine. It was a little bit excessive. You can see here, and there was like 10 different times where she did this, and I was told by the judges to make sure my athletes don't do this. So maybe they'll tell her the same thing going forward. Fourth place here. Sorry, that was fourth place. So next one, the big one's Lauralie, right? As I told you guys on Tuesday, I knew Lauralie wasn't going to be in the top. I'm going to tell you why. So someone sent me this picture she posted on her close friends or something, and I examined it and I looked and I realized right away that she was too big, and this wasn't going to be the Miss Olympia bikini this year. So her shoulders are very, very big here, arms are very big, and glutes are way too big for bikini. So the second I saw this picture, I compared it to her Arnold picture where they told her to come exactly the same. But this is her Arnold where she won, and this is her glutes now. And I knew right away that this wasn't going to be her year, because I know Sandy, what she told her to come back like the Arnold. Pittsburgh, I think Pittsburgh was her best shape ever when she won Pittsburgh, and I know what she looked like. I was there, and I saw this picture, and having done 1,000+ check-ins with Lauralie, I know how the pictures look compared to real life, and I knew that this picture did not reflect what Sandy wanted. As far as telling her to come exactly like the Pittsburgh, so I knew that she wasn't going to be winning this year based on how big she was. So now, what happened, right? Because we know that she came on stage, right? She was extremely depleted, something like we've never seen before. Very like soulless physique. It looked like it was like dead, right? And she knew that she was off. I think she knew that she was off. Her confidence. I've never seen her do a routine with zero confidence like this before. You saw it in her eyes. You saw it in her body language. You saw it like in her face that she just. I don't know if she was crying before. I don't know what happened, but she just knew that she was just drained, face, body, everything, right? And that's what everyone saw the second she came on stage. And that's the main reason I asked why. She said, she placed so low because she was just so looking depleted and her body looked lifeless. So how did that happen, right? So how did that happen? Because it's kind of hard to get Lauralie to look like that because she's known for having such a bubbly, round physique, right? So how does that happen? There's a few things that could have happened. In speculation, obviously. One thing is she could have took a diuretic. I don't think she took her diuretic because she knows that taking diuretics destroys her physique and it's a death sentence for her physique. So the first time she took a diuretic, she's never taken a diuretic with me, but the first time she was coaching herself, and she won like she came second place Olympia 2018. Then she did like China or Philippines, one or the other, won it against Janet, and then 2 weeks later she did the opposite one. I think it was Philippines or China, the opposite one, and then lost to Janet. And the reason why is because she took a diuretic and it destroyed her physique. So she's been traumatized about diuretics since then, and she never wants to take it. But her physique looked like she could have taken one. I don't know. I really doubt that she did, because if she did, that would have been a fucking stupid move, because she knows that it completely destroys her physique. So if she did that, then that's on her, because that was a big mistake. Another thing that could happen was um, maybe she came in person and started checking in. And they realized she was too big, and they try to really diet her down and try to kind of suck out the fullness and try to go with that look. That could have been another option. Another thing too is that I really don't think this is Kim's fault, honestly. The glutes shouldn't have been this big. Lauralie has always known how to train her glutes. She's always trained glutes like once a week, and we know that they've been, for some reason, emphasizing glute training like 3 times a week now, trying to grow her glutes as big as they can be and not follow that criteria. So I don't. This is what happens when there's too many cooks in the kitchen, and the athlete doesn't follow just the coach's guidance, and they're following personal trainer guidance and someone that doesn't know what the bikini criteria is. So that was definitely a big issue. She was not winning this year because she was too big, and I'm sure they told her glutes were too big too. Um, as far as that, yeah. So maybe they thought that she was too big. They tried to suck her down. And also another thing, maybe she just didn't listen to Kim. I've coached Lauralie before, and it's extremely hard to coach her because she kind of does, random things sometimes. For example, at the 2020 Olympia, I was coaching Jen and her at the same time, and I was comparing her and Jen side by side. Tuesday, they both looked good, but Lauralie looked a little bit better than Jen. On Wednesday, they kind of looked kind of the same. Like Jen was kind of getting a little bit better, Lauralie's getting a little bit worse. On Thursday, Lauralie was looking significantly worse than Jen. I was like, "What the fuck is going on?" So I asked Lauralie, I'm like, "Lauralie, please tell me like what's going. I don't know how you're regressing and Jen's getting better, right?" And she was like, "Yeah, the last 2 days I kind of drank 10 liters of water because I wanted to just water load." And I was like, I freaked the fuck out because I was like, "Listen, like we have one day now to kind of rectify this, and this is a big mistake because now, like, you flush out all your electrolytes. If you're trying to water load, you're flushing out all your sodium, potassium, magnesium, and there's a big issue there. So, when a coach is trying to put a plan together, they have all the pieces of the puzzle putting together, right? And if you're missing a piece or you don't know where one piece is and one piece is doing on its own thing, then it fucks the whole thing, right? It fucks the whole formula. So maybe she did something like that because she's done this to me multiple times at the Michigan show. We're one day out and I'm carb loading or fat loading like fucking crazy to fill her out because that's what she needed. And then she told me the night before, "Oh yeah, I only drank like a liter of water today." And I'm like, "Lauralie, we're supposed to be 5 liters of water. Your body cannot absorb all these carbs I'm giving you if you're drinking 1 liter of water." And she just looked completely spilled and soft and in sleep. So it's like, is it Kim's fault? Probably not. I know coaching Lauralie is kind of like coaching 10 athletes at once. It's very stressful, very high stress um, situation. You kind of don't know what's going on half the time, unreliability issues. There's a lot of problems in that scenario. So I feel bad for Kim. I know we had like 11 athletes plus her, so it's like a 21 athlete job. So I don't know what happened in that camp. I doubt it's Kim's fault. That's what I'm going to say. But can Lauralie still win the Olympia? Yes. Was she supposed to win this year? Yes. Everyone knew that she was supposed to win this year. She had a great track record this year, and this was her year to win. But it didn't happen, unfortunately, mainly because the glutes were too big, which was the fault of the personal training. And, you know, um, she came in way too depleted, which is something I've never seen before. And I don't know whose fault that was, but those are the possible situations that happen. Maybe there's something else that I missed, but I don't know. So we're going to move on to the next one. So that was fifth place. Amy was sixth place. I think Amy should have been fifth place, and Lauralie should have been sixth, because Amy's fullness here was perfect. Her conditioning was perfect. Amy, this is the first time I see Amy compete in person, and she looks a lot bigger in pictures than she does in real life. So she's actually short in person, but in pictures she looks like a wellness athlete. This looks like a wellness athlete from the front pose. In real life, she does not look like this. So I mentioned she was too big before, but in person she's not too big. She has pretty good structure. I mean, her conditioning is really damn good. Her tan's good. Her symmetry. Look at her symmetry, how good it is from top to bottom. Really good. I think her and Phoebe were the two stars of the show as far as newcomers, so that was awesome. She was one of them. Her symmetry is great. Her posing is great. She has a lot of beauty. I mean, there's not much you could fix here. I think if she just keeps showing up and being consistent, she's going to be very high at the Olympia soon. Higher than sixth, because this was a very good showing. So Phoebe, the smartest thing Phoebe has ever fucking done in her career was do that Texas show, because What that did that she won Texas, she beat Daraja, is she made sure that the judges took a good fucking look at her when she came on stage at Olympia. Like, all right, Phoebe looking good, her back shot's crazy, let's give her a good look at the Olympia. And that's what they did, and they realized how good she actually is. Her back shot's one of the best in the world. Usually she has a problem with conditioning, that's always been her issue. But now that she nailed her conditioning, her glutes are so damn round. And like just you can see her there's a little bit of an imbalance maybe because of it. She's leaning on one glute over the other, but I don't think it's going to affect her as much as it did Jen because Jen's going for the number one spot, and that's going to really be the smallest little details. But here, if she fixes this, it's going to be a perfect back shot. Her front pose, I think she could build a little bit more fullness still in her arms and her delts and her legs just because she's so tall that it's going to make her look a little bit lanky. Besides that, I mean, her conditioning was the best I've ever seen it. Her back shot glute, it's absolutely ridiculous. Very, very impressed with Phoebe showing this show. I'm really happy to see her play so high. Eighth place. That was Janet. So guys, this is what's happening at this level now. I think Janet will look one of her best. I think this was very comparable to her Olympia win. The problem is the caliber is getting so good right now that the new girls are just getting better, and that's the problem is like more pros are going to be, being made, more girls are going to be competing, and there's going to be pushing out kind of the older generation coming with the new, right? Like Phoebe and Amy beat Janet and Issa. Like that's fucking crazy, and no one would have ever predicted that, but that's the reality because the new girls, they're coming in, they're a little bit younger, and they're going to be the next stars. So that's kind of the way that the bikini divisions work, and that's the way it's always worked. It's actually that way in every category, honestly. So look at the men's physique. The new ones coming in, the older ones kind of getting pushed down. Bodybuilding too. The new stars, Samson. You have Hunters in there. You have Dick Walker. Like those are all the ones coming up, and then kind of the older ones kind of get kind of pushed down. So this is what happens in every category, and it's just the way it is. I mean, Janet's front shot's amazing. Beauty. We all know she has amazing stage presence, conditioning. Her only issue is her glutes are a little bit too big for her legs. I'm going to show you guys in a comparison photo later, but that was Janet. So I mean, there's not much else she could have done there. I mean, it's kind of disappointing for going for first place, and then you kind of do another show, and then you first place Olympia, then you do your next Olympia, and you come eighth place. I mean, that's obviously very frustrating, but that's just the way the game is at this point. So Issa, I thought this was one of honestly Issa's best look. She could have placed a little bit higher. I think. Sorry, this is Romina. I don't know why I put Issa. I think this is one of Issa's best looks. She looks so fucking good. The only issue is her back pose isn't up to par with the newer girls now. So like Issa's always has had kind of a weaker back shot than she did front shot, but now it's going to be a lot more visible when she's going up kind of the newer girls, right? Like let me show you. Like we have Phoebe here versus Issa. Like clearly Phoebe's back shot is a lot stronger. It's a lot bubblier. It's a lot rounder. It's a lot fuller. And Issa's back shots kind of gets exposed here with the newer girls who are coming up and are a little bit better in the back. Obviously, no one really beats Issa from the front, but it's Bikini in the back is going to be, a big deciding factor of the judging. And I really don't like the suit cut. It's kind of like a triangle, angled off thing. I hate when suit makers do this. Phoebe's is perfect. Look at this round thing that accentuates the shape of the glute versus this kind of like angled off suit. I fucking can't stand when my girls come to with this suit, so she needs to fix the suit bottom ASAP. That's something easily to fix to make your glutes look definitely better. But I mean, that's why Issa plays lower. Her back shot isn't up to par anymore with the new girls, and it's unfortunate because I love Issa and I really always want to see her place high. Lastly but not least, Romina Bass. She looked pretty good here. Where are we here? I think I'm gonna put her in just the Issa thing. Yeah, so Romina Bass, this is one of the best looks I've seen her. Not her best. She was a little bit better when I saw her in Florida. I mean, she's very symmetrical. Same thing. Her back shot's one of the best in the world. She could have been a little bit tighter. I've seen her a little bit tighter here. At two shows, she was better a little bit at Florida, and last year when she beat Ashley and Ashley, she looked a little bit better than this too. But her glutes, if she come in a little bit sharper, would pop even more. Her glutes are fucking insane. There's so much dense muscle in there and roundness that it really just brings out a lot of her shape. And her front pose here, I don't like how she pins her shoulder back. If she kind of brought her shoulder a little bit more forward, kind of exactly like the Jennifer Dorie type thing. Not with the elbow, but with the shoulder. Let me show you. So do you see how Jen is kind of pinning her shoulder back here instead of leaving it forward? Like look how here it's forward, versus here it's pinned back. She's kind of doing the same thing. So if she brought her shoulder a little bit more forward, it would make her look a little bit less unnecessarily wide in the front pose. And it would help her. But I mean, just a little bit better conditioning. If she's going to start placing higher, that's going to be dependent on how the other competitors show up because she's really good, but the new girls are obviously getting really good too. So let's see here. So yeah, this is a back shot of like the top 10, I think. So you can see here once again, Jen's doing the same thing with her glutes. So I mean, this is why she lost, guys. So this is hopefully this is an eye opener for you. You kind of can learn from this because she's standing between. Look at this. She's standing between Maureen and Ashley, right, with the perfect symmetry in the glutes, straight, and then lopsided a little bit. You can see here Lauralie's glutes are way too big compared to Maureen's glutes. Are massive. It's the size of glutes are the size of Maureen's entire upper body. And I want to point out one thing too, like Janet's glutes here. You can see they're like a little bit softer and a little bit. There's something that doesn't flow here. Like if you put her between, like look at Maureen, look at Ashley, and look at Janet. Right, there's something that doesn't quite flow the same with the glutes and the legs in proportion. So that's the reason why Janet's placing a little bit lower than she should. But besides that, guys, I hope you learned something in this video. If you have any questions or comments or anything, please leave it in the comments below, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. So thank you, and I hope you have a great day.